What's up, Lost Boys? Here we are for our last fantasy football video of the season. But first, round of applause to our Super Bowl champion, Tim. Who would have thought the bank pulls it out? This really was the year of Tim getting married, winning Super Bowl. Congrats, man. I couldn't be happier for you. It was an epic, epic journey for you. We're going to get right into it right now. We're going to start the first round of the playoffs. And actually, instead of the first round playoffs, we're going to start the week before. Like I mentioned, Tim needed some things to make sure he guaranteed it. Ryan was on a freaking fire pace. Josh takes Ryan down with a record-setting performance, gets Tim into the playoffs, which sets up a matchup between, ironically, Josh and Tim. Tim and Josh battle. Comes down to the wire. Tim gets the victory. Drake May outscores Josh Allen. Josh Allen's been the best fantasy football player all year. He's been a stud, but the previous 2 weeks he scored 50 and then he scored 40 before this week. He scores Josh 11 in the first round of the playoffs. Cost Josh the game. Tim gets the dub. Drake May carries him. There was a sequence during that game where A-Chain ran off a 50-yard touchdown where he could have went down to kneel it. He decided to go all the way. Justin Jefferson scored a 34-yard touchdown with time remaining. Brock Purdy threw a touchdown, and then Drake May threw a garbage time touchdown, all within about a 6-minute span in real life. Tim won the game, just right there. Josh's kicker, Aubrey, gave him a fighting chance, getting 21 points. But Keandre Miller couldn't do it. Josh losing Kamara right before the playoffs, who Kamara's been awesome this year, really cost him. So Tim takes down Josh. In that same week, we had Matt versus Denny. This one was an epic game. Both guys had bad beats because both guys would have beaten Josh or Tim. Unfortunately, Matt edges out Denny. Basically, Matt's 2 first picks, Saquon and Jonathan Taylor, they carried him. I mean, they got him like 70 points combined, which is crazy to think. So rough for Denny. He deserved to move on, at least play in the Super Bowl, but sometimes that's the way fantasy was. Denny with an awesome, awesome season. He was second place. Josh was first place. First and second place guys both go down in the first round of the playoffs, but that's fantasy. Now we're going to move on to our epic Super Bowl. But first, before that, we're going to get to our third place game. Denny takes down Josh to claim third place this year. He needed like 25 points last night from Goff, and Laporta ended up getting like 40, 45. So Denny takes down Josh. Josh falls from first going into the playoffs to fourth. Denny gets that third place, gets his money back. I know it's a bummer for Denny because he was also in the playoffs last year. He's right there trying to get that first Super Bowl for him. But he just couldn't do it again this year. Maybe next year, Denny. I thought your team was awesome all year. But to the Super Bowl, guys. Matt versus Tim. This was a battle all day long. Looks like Tim was going to take it. Matt's guys really started out really bad, especially the Thursday night games and the Christmas Day games. I mean, Matt didn't have any good performances. Then, boom, Sunday got here, and Adam Thielen, of all people, 25 points, I think, is what he had this week. I mean, Adam Thielen puts Matt in the lead. Looks like he's going to take the victory. Saquon ends up doing really good. Jonathan Taylor ends up doing good. So his studs come out and they do perform for him. Jordan Love got some garbage time against the Vikings, but it wasn't a huge performance from Jordan Love. Tim on the flip side, his guys did good. Justin Jefferson did his normal thing. I mean, it wasn't a terrible performance by JJ, but you know, Tim has been getting huge performances from JJ. He got a 33-pointer to beat Josh in the first round. This week, Darnold threw, I think, 4 touchdowns, had like 350 yards. Unfortunately, JJ wasn't one of the people that got the touchdown. So he needed a big performance. Tim couldn't get him back in this game. It looked dire for Tim. It looked dire, but Romeo Doubs got him some points on that Green Bay game and gave Tim a fighting chance. He went in down 64 points to this Monday night game. 64 points. He had Purdy, he had Jennings, he had Debo, and he had Gibbs. So he had a shot. Gibbs has been his best player all year long. Gibbs has been an absolute stud all year. Anyway, Purdy had his best first half of the year, and it looked doable for him. And through the third quarter, Matt threw out the juju card. He cursed him with the congrats. And no joke, right after that, Purdy throws 2 interceptions. It looked like it worked. It was insane. It could not go right for Tim over the next 10 or 15 minutes. And then, boom, Gibbs, 35-yard touchdown run to win Tim the championship, which is great that this happened because immediately after this, Purdy gets hurt and doesn't go back into the game. So Tim ends up winning by about 10 points. He needed 63, got about 73, which is insane. Purdy came through with his best game of the year. Gibbs had another insane game. Debo got a touchdown on a 1-inch pass, but hey, that's double dipping for Tim. That was huge for Tim. And here we are, the bank, the ICU, to be honest, the laughingstock of the league for the last decade. Boom. Takes down Matt, gets his first Super Bowl in over a decade. So happy for Tim. Tim, you earned it, man. You were making moves. I mean, just to talk about the difference of you this year compared to last year, we're just going to look at the Super Bowl. You putting in the effort. You benched A-Chain, and you benched Joe Mixon. I mean, these guys were your starters all year, and you had the balls to put in Bucky Irving, and you had the balls to put in whoever the other guy was that outscored both of those guys. That was the difference of you winning the Super Bowl. You made the right call. You went with your gut. You did some fantasy research. You maybe listened to some podcasts, and you did it. So, guys, that proves to you, like, I know fantasy is luck. We all think it is a lot to do with luck, but if you actually read stuff and do research and put in the time and make decisions that are tough, and you make the right call, you will win the Super Bowl. Tim did that this year. He was doing waiver wire. He was making tough decisions, and it gave him a ring. So, Tim, congrats. You kicked ass, man. So happy for you. Matt, awesome job as well, man. You were in the top 4 all year. Your team was clearly awesome. You pushed to the Super Bowl. You just got eked out right at the end by Tim, but awesome year, man. And yeah, so that's going to be it, guys. Before we go, I'm going to go over my projected top 10 picks for next year in the first round. It's never too early to start preparing, guys. Never too early. First pick next year I have, surprisingly, Josh Allen. I know our league doesn't like to go quarterbacks early, but I don't know, this year, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, some of these guys were clearly, Jaden Daniels, they are all awesome. And Josh Allen and Lamar were clearly a tier above. They gave you such an edge. So Josh Allen goes number 1, and speaking of Lamar, he goes number 2. I think with these running quarterbacks, in our league being a 4-point passing touchdown league, the running quarterbacks give you a clear advantage over some of the passers. I mean, look at Burrow, for example, this year. Burrow had one of the best passing seasons of all time and still fell behind Josh Allen and Lamar in fantasy because of the rushing upside. So Josh Allen 1, Lamar 2. Third pick of the draft, I have Saquon. Saquon, we made it too complicated. The guy's one of the most talented runners in the league. He was going behind one of the best running teams in the league, one of the best offensive lines in the league. He was paired with Jalen Hurts, which gives him the dual threat. Defenses can't home in on Saquon because they have to worry about Hurts running. I mean, it should have been easy for us to see this happening. We didn't see it. He fell to the second round. Matt cashed in on it. And it's not like Saquon's getting old. I think he's going to be 27 next year, maybe 28. Eagles are still going to be good. All their pieces are young. So I have Saquon, a running back, a really good running back is a premium in fantasy. I have him 3rd overall. 4th, Ja'Marr Chase. Burrow feeds Ja'Marr. We're going to see what his contract situation looks like going into the offseason, but he feeds Ja'Marr Chase. It's his favorite target, clearly. The Bengals defense is awful, so they're going to have to pass. They're in a good division. They play against the Ravens, who score a lot. So I think Ja'Marr Chase is clearly the number 1 wide receiver. He showed it this year. So he's going to go number 4. Number 5, speaking of wide receivers, Justin Jefferson. This is our wide receiver run. JJ, he was awesome. You know, he didn't get hurt. The Vikings offense is always going to be a pass-heavy offense with Kevin O'Connor at head coach. Darnold looks like the real deal. They're probably going to keep him another year. JJ's just about as safe as you can get in the first round. So Justin Jefferson is going to go number 5. Number 6, I have CeeDee Lamb back there. CeeDee Lamb looked pretty good this year. Dak got hurt, which was bad. Dak hopefully will come back. He'll be healthy next year. And we'll see what the Cowboys do with their number 2 wide receiver position going in the offseason, but CeeDee Lamb's guaranteed 12, 13 targets a game, and he's a really good player. So I think CeeDee Lamb is awesome. I think it's a great pick, and he's going to go to 6. Number 7, speaking of safe, awesome players, Amon-Ra. Jace took him a number 2 this year. Great pick. I mean, Amon-Ra gave him, you're pretty much guaranteed 15 points every week from Amon-Ra, and sometimes he booms you with the 28ers. So he's going to get you 80. He's going to get you 6 catches, and every once in a while he's going to get you a touchdown or 2. So Amon-Ra is awesome. The Lions offense is awesome. There's so many weapons on there. They cannot home in on one guy, which benefits Amon-Ra. 8th pick of the draft, I have Bijan. Bijan was great this year. I think he ended up as the number 4 running back this year, which is really solid. Like I said, running backs are at a premium this year. I have Bijan. He's a super talented guy. He's still on his rookie contract. He's still young. The Falcons are probably going to start Penix next year, so their offense is going to be better than it was. You saw Bijan the latter stages of the year. They were feeding him more, and he got 20 points, I think, 4 of his last 5 games. So Bijan I have at number 8. Number 9, the hero of the day last night, Gibbs. The only reason he's not at higher than list, to be honest with you, the only reason he's not in the top 5 is because of David Montgomery. If David Montgomery's out for extended periods of time, you saw Gibbs is maybe the best fantasy football player in the league. They feed him the ball. He's super talented. Their offensive line is insane. He has home run potential. He goes between the tackles, outside the tackles, and he catches balls. I mean, he's everything you want. Like I said, the only thing keeping him from being higher on this list is the fact that David Montgomery steals those goal line carries from him sometimes. But as Tim saw this year, Gibbs is going to be awesome regardless of David Montgomery or not. So Gibbs I have at 9. And number 10, this was the one I had problems with, but I'm going to go with horse turd hair. I know he's still getting up there in age, but he's on that Ravens offense. He's a freak of nature. He showed it game in and game out. I mean, did he hit the jackpot drafting this guy later in the draft? He was the number 2 running back this year behind Saquon. He even finished the year with a couple duds, and then he finished the year with a couple awesome ones. He got, I think, 23, 24 points in Denny in the semifinals. So horse turd hair is going to be your 10th one there. There's a lot of guys that could have got on that 10th spot, but I think with running backs being there, maybe quarterback goes there, Burrow, Jaden Daniels, maybe receivers, Puka, but I have horse turd hair as my 10th spot, guys. So that's my top 10 for next year. Cannot wait. We're already planning draft. And guys, draft next year, draft/bachelor party. It's going to be the most epic one of all time. It's going to be in Vegas. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun, guys. Tim, congrats again. Love you guys. Have a happy new year.